we are currently talking about the UK's state overreach of fascist bending of the law in order to subjugate protesters. So we're currently going through a little bit of that. Thank you so much for all the follows. Really appreciate that. I hope you enjoy your time here, and thank you so much for the raid. Honestly, no justice if you're tired after the stream and that. Don't worry, go and sort yourself out, have a cup of tea, relax, break everything down and whatnot. But thank you so much for the raid. I really, really appreciate that. Nice one. Jim Speak, hello. We got Brody G99 as well. Welcome in. Hope you're all having a good day. Okay, yeah, so we will crack on. I'm currently reading this and just talking, generally speaking, I'll catch you all up on it. This is a piece of writing from centralchambers.co.uk. It's titled, Are we Bending the Law to Break Protesters? And I was currently talking about the Filton 18. If you are familiar, the Filton 18 are 18 Palestine actionists who were detained and held on remand before the prescription of Palestine Action. So this was before they were prescribed as a terrorist organisation, and they were charged with terror offences.
Rejoice, comrades! Some random geek is lurking in the void. Watch out, as always, for the tardigrades. Hi, geek. Mwah. Oh, Christ. Oops. Forgot to turn the volume down on my phone. Rejoice, comrades. Jim Speak is here. Hi, Jim. A based individual. Okay, let's bring up YouTube, see what's been happening. How you doing, Jim? Great to see you, as always. Stupid frame drops. Usual. Dismiss, go away, super drunk. Sweet. If you need any help, I am here. This is a difference engine. Or a weird difference engine, if you wish, filled with lots of uselessness at times. Also some rather base takes and other stuff. Oh god. Let us see. Oh look, Owen. That should be fun. Sorry YouTube comrades, I'm using my YouTube chat as my YouTube connection so I can hear everything. I will still see your chat right here. I've got new emotes coming soon. They are delightfully Scottish based. Whenever you see them, please thank Hatter Hair. They be based and they be amazing artist. Okay, give me a minute. Yes, Owen, he will, hopefully, with any damn luck in this world, he will go to the fucking Hague. Indeed, John, indeed. Rejoice, comrades, John the Brazen is here. Okay. Nose. Where be he? Fuck it, I'll just go to his actual channel. Engines. Haha. Got it. 1, 2, 3.
Will the British Foreign Secretary David Lammy one day stand trial at The Hague for complicity in Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people? Now, here is a question which was put by the Tory former Cabinet Minister, Kit Malthouse, in the House of Commons this week.
Kit Malthouse.
Madam Deputy Speaker, like others in this House, I'm frankly astonished at the statement of the Foreign Secretary. At a time when we've got daily lynchings and expulsions on the West Bank, dozens being murdered as they beg for aid,
Thanks, Jim. Good. Could that be a YouTube problem? Or is that a me problem? Give me a minute. Let us see. Let us check. Output. Huh. It's not that. Audio settings are fine. I think that might be a YouTube problem.
I'm just beyond words, really, at his inaction and, frankly, complicity by inaction at what is going on. He himself said there's a massive prison camp being constructed in the south of Gaza. He knows that leading genocide scholars from across the world now are ringing the alarm bells, and yet he has the temerity to show up to this House and wave his checkbook as if it's going to salve his conscience. Can he not see that his inaction and, frankly, cowardice is making this country irrelevant? Can he also not see the personal risk to him, given our international obligations, that he may end up at The Hague because of his inaction? And finally, really frankly, an appeal to the Labour backbenchers. We can't get your leadership to change their minds. Only you can, if you organise and insist on change.
Before I bring in the Foreign Secretary, can I just remind members that we have got other business to proceed to tonight.
Damn. I agree with a Tory. Just end me. Feel free to come and shoot me. Damn, and it's Kit Malthouse too, what the fuck? I can't believe I'm agreeing with the bastard. We live in a really weird and fucked up time, don't we, comrades?
So please keep questions and answers short. Foreign Secretary.
I understand the fury that the right honourable gentleman feels, but I have to tell him.
Do something about it then.
I have to tell him that it demeans his argument when he personalises it in the way that he does, and it is not.
He was calling you out in your position of Foreign Secretary,
and not something that the House expects, particularly of more senior members.
Yeah, that's what Malthouse was saying. So you inferred that he was slighting you as a person? Personally, I slight you as a person as well, David Lammy. You could only be a fucking monster at this point. But your position as Foreign Secretary, you can do something about this shit. That is what we are calling out. That's what Kit Malthouse was calling out. Don't get me wrong, I despise him and his party for all the raccoon ruin that they've wrought upon us. So, the fact that I agree with him shows that you're garbage. It does demean his office, doesn't it? One of the 4 great offices of state, no less. Don't get me wrong, most foreign secretaries have been absolute talk shit. Case in point, Boris Johnson. Nazanin, anyone? This is your Nazanin, the Carrie Radcliffe, David. Seriously, these people. Is he a London MP? I'm sure he's a London MP. Oh, he's Tottenham, isn't he?
Here's the thing, right? This Tory MP has shown infinitely more moral clarity over Israel's genocide than the entire Labour front bench put together. And also note how Lally tries to suggest that Kit Mothouse somehow personally abused him. There is literally nothing insulting about anything that Malthouse said. He asked a perfectly reasonable question, which Lammy just didn't want to answer. And there is an understandable reason for that. Because Lammy, you see, is complicit in the crime of the century, which is Israel's Western-facilitated genocidal extermination of the Palestinian people in Gaza. Lammy's a lawyer and he should know what international law says. Let's start with the Genocide Convention 1948. That identifies 5 acts which are punishable. As you might expect, one is genocide, and also listed is conspiracy to commit genocide, as well as direct and public incitement to commit genocide, attempt to commit genocide, and finally, and of specific relevance here, complicity in genocide. The British government is specifically arming Israel, indeed providing key components for Israel's F-35 jets whose bombs have wiped Gaza from the face of the earth and which are shredding the bodies of little children, and without which the genocide would not be possible. The genocide which those F-35 jets are specifically perpetrated. Their complicity doesn't end there, as we'll discuss, but the Genocide Convention also imposes a legal obligation on signatories to prevent and punish the crime of genocide. The British government signed the convention the day it was published at the United Nations in 1948. We incorporated it into our statute books 55 years ago. In 2007, the International Court of Justice found that Serbia was not directly responsible or complicit in the 1995 Srebrenica genocide committed by the Bosnian Serb army. It nonetheless ruled it had breached the Genocide Convention because it had failed to prevent the genocide from taking place and did not cooperate with the International Court in punishing those who directly perpetrated the genocide. Then there's the Arms Trade Treaty. Britain ratified that in April 2014. Under Articles 6 and 7, Britain is forbidden from authorising arms transfers if it knows that weapons would be used in genocide, in crimes against humanity or war crimes, even if it doesn't have certain knowledge, which doesn't actually apply here, because there's more evidence than any other crime as it actually happened in history, then such transfers are legally prohibited if there's an overriding risk that such weapons could be used to commit or facilitate grave violations of international law. Under the Arms Trade Treaty, providing crucial parts or components for fighter jets in such circumstances qualifies as providing weapons, and that includes, therefore, components for Israel's F-35 jets. Then there's the Geneva Convention, which forbids the litany of war crimes and crimes against humanity being committed every single day by the Israeli state. If Britain, as it is doing, provides weapons for such atrocities, then it is violating the Geneva Convention. As for war crimes, Britain is a founding member of the International Criminal Court. Last year, its lawyers issued arrest warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former Defence Minister Yoav Gallant on charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity. This was based on charges presented by the ICC's chief prosecutor, the British lawyer Karim Khan, last May. The ICC has ordered that future charges must be done in secret rather than publicly, and it has also made clear that more charges are to come, not just against Netanyahu and Gallant. And yet the British government recently defended the sale of F-35 components in the High Court on the grounds that there was no evidence of women and children being deliberately targeted in Gaza and there was no serious risk of a genocide. Who to believe here? The British government, as it supplies weapons to a genocidal state, or the dozens of American doctors and nurses who have served in Gaza's hospitals, who last October testified to the New York Times that they had received the bodies of Palestinian children over and over again, shot in the head or chest by Israeli snipers. What about Israeli soldiers themselves who confessed to the Israeli Palestinian magazine Plus 972 magazine that they were deliberately targeting children? Let me read this from a soldier's testimony. There was a boy who entered the off-limit zone. He didn't do anything. Other soldiers claimed to have seen him standing and talking to people. That's it. They dropped a grenade from a drone. In another incident, he said, soldiers tried to kill a child riding a bicycle a great distance away from them. In most cases, there was nothing you could tell yourself. There was no way to complete the sentence, we killed them because. Or let's listen to the British surgeon, Dr. Nick Maynard, who's serving in Nassau Hospital.
And I've seen, I think, probably a dozen now, seriously injured young boys who have been shot in the abdomen or the chest. One of them, a 12-year-old, died on the operating table because the injuries were so severe. And they're all from gunshot wounds. And they all described to me, and their families described to me, and indeed colleagues of mine, Gazan medical colleagues who are looking for food as well, have gone to these same distribution sites and witnessed these injuries as well. They're all describing that they're being shot by Israeli soldiers or by the quadcopters, the drones which are being remotely controlled by the Israelis and fire often.
Oops. Rejoice, comrades. Shanna Cranky Pants is lurking in the void. Watch out for the tardigrades, sweetie. Hi, Shanna. Everyone. Oh, I will do it. Go and follow Capricorn, Cappy, and Shanna's channel. They be based. Shanna is awesome. She is my moderator. Praise be Shanna. She has guided me. Cappy is very artistic. Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. You deserve it. Both of you. How's Simon? If you're still here. Do you? Cannot wait. I will be there. In my official capacity as mod. Oh, I am a mod for Shanna. Praise be. Also mod and streamer and based individual, apparently. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, darling. We are watching Owen Jones, based individual, calling out David Lammy, our ever delightful Foreign Secretary, who is scum. Oh God, the entire front bench. I just want rid of all of them. They are not Labour. Remember that, comrades. They are not Labour. Anna Soubry said it best. They are basically one nationers now. So Tory. I didn't vote for Tory. I have never voted Tory. Well, my first general election after I turned 18 was 97. I did vote Labour in my constituency, which I was living in Clybank. And my local MP who got returned, Jackie Bailey. Pretty much says a lot, really. Thank you, sweetie. Rejoice, comrades. Reza Lynn is here. Hi, Reza. Welcome, welcome. Mwah. Great to see you. Owen Jones video. Calling out David Lammy. Haha. Oh, new emotes coming soon because Hatter here be based on an amazing artist. This. Oh no, wrong one. This based. This based emote comes from Hatter Hair. Praise be the frying pan bonk. Just you wait. I'm going to have to crop them a bit and get them put into approval by Twitch. So 5 a week. I will let you all know, and I'll just spam everywhere because they are they are deliciously based. Thank you, Hatter here. Much appreciated. Once I get my Zinly set up, I will pay this based individual. And if I can't, I will talk to Hatter here and literally send them money. Shall we continue?
And indiscriminately, often targeted. And I'm seeing we're all seeing a very clear pattern of injuries. I've seen the abdominal injuries, but my colleagues in the emergency room describe a very clear pattern where on particular days they'll see different body parts targeted. So on one day they'll all be abdominal gunshot wounds, and
I will resist it as much as possible. I'd rather pay a genuine artist to do my emotes, and luckily I know four based ones now, and they need the money. Plus their art is infinitely better than most of the AI slop that we're getting. Funny that, really. But these ones, just you wait. Oh, I could maybe put them pre-edited into my general Discord. They sent them to me in a DM. In fact, no, I won't. I will let them be a surprise for everyone. Seriously, they are just something else. Thank you, Hatter Hair. Can't wait to get everyone's reaction to them. Oh, British surgeon working in Gaza, by the way.
another day they'll all be head gunshot wounds or neck gunshot wounds. On another day they'll be arm or leg gunshot wounds. And on last Saturday there were 4 young teenage boys all brought in very Hatter is awesome. Yes, rapid in succession with gunshot wounds to their testicles. So they're clearly being targeted to their testicles, and this is a pattern that we're seeing every day, that these young teenage boys are systematically being targeted, and it's all
to all my testicle owning individuals, all my testicle owning comrades. I know the human form, and I know the amount of blood vessels in that. I do not have testicles. I am a woman. I have indoor plumbing, if you wish to put it that. That's what I call it easier, as the indoor plumbing, which is eminently more sensible. Outdoor plumbing, just, yeah, target. Like the good surgeon is saying. So, I feel for any testicle owners getting shot in that delicate area. Like I say, lots of blood vessels. You can actually die from getting booted in the balls, if you wish. And it can cause internal bleeding in that general area, because the blood supply you need to perform certain tasks, be it with man, woman, or MB. Yeah, not a good place. Obviously, no place on the human body is good to get shot. obviously. There's some that you can survive, but you'll be decreased, obviously. Getting on your extremities, like arms, if it's up near here, yeah, that's major, that's bad. You can actually bleed out from that, but below the elbow, it's still going to fuck you up. Anything above the knees, because of the femoral artery, you can bleed out in a matter of minutes. Delightful. And down there for AMAB, so much blood vessels, you can bleed out, which is probably what's happening to most of these boys, essentially. Children, small children, you can bleed to death from getting shot in your junk. So that is targeted. That there is no other. You don't get shot accidentally there. That is deliberate. It's the same for women getting shot there. We've got a more complex web of capillaries and veins in that area as well, obviously to get aroused also. But yeah, and perform other functions, including childbirth. A lot of women, because of certain traumatic births, is caused wide spiraling blood loss, actually giving birth, and the mums have died. Thank you, Mum, for educating me on that one. Mum was a midwife, by the way. So yeah, traumatic birth could cause this as well, because you literally get ripped apart. There's also another one when not done correctly, or because of complications with your circulatory system, it's called an episiotomy. You get cut to help ease the childbirth, and that's went wrong. So you can bleed from that as well, just to help birth your child. So getting shot in that general area. Plus it does you are at risk of actually hitting the femoral artery, one of the major arteries, with giving oxygenated blood to the leg and to the hip area. So that is deliberate. So the Israeli soldiers who are doing that, scum, targeting someone's genitals. Buttons.
Almost as if a game is being played, that they're deciding to shoot the head today and the neck tomorrow and the testicles the day after.
Just process that for a minute. On each day, different parts of the victims' bodies have been targeted. On one day it's the head, the other neck, the other the abdomen, the other testicles. He suggests that shows a game is being played by Israeli soldiers to target different parts of these children's bodies each day. What of the charge of genocide? A consensus of genocide scholars has concluded that Israel is committing genocide, including Israeli scholars Omar Bartov, Ratzi Gal, Amos Goldberg, Daniel Blattman, and Shmuel Lederman. Omar Bartov is Professor of Holocaust and Genocide Studies at Brown University, one of the preeminent scholars of genocide on Earth. He penned an essay last week for the New York Times entitled, "I'm a genocide scholar, I know it when I see it." In it he wrote, "My inescapable conclusion has become that Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinian people. Having grown up in a Zionist home, lived the first half of my life in Israel, served in the IDF as a soldier and officer, and spent most of my career researching and writing on war crimes and the Holocaust, this was a painful conclusion to reach, and one that I resisted as long as I could. But I've been teaching classes on genocide for a quarter of a century. I can recognise one when I see one." The evidence could hardly be more overwhelming. Israel has officially made clear that when it's finished with Gaza, there will be no living Palestinians left there. Benjamin Netanyahu told Israel's parliament, "We are destroying more and more homes, and Gazans have nowhere to return to. The only inevitable outcome will be the wish of Gazans to emigrate outside of the Gaza Strip." As a former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert puts it, Israel's building a concentration camp. Gaza survivors will be compelled to live in this tiny camp before they're deported. Those who refuse will be exterminated, judged to be Hamas and thus legitimate military targets. According to Eyal Benvenisti, he was the Israeli lawyer chosen by Israel to defend it from charges of genocide at the International Court of Justice. This is a manifest war crime and crime against humanity. He subsequently signed a letter declaring this plan under certain conditions could amount to the crime of genocide. Gaza has now reached a tipping point. There has been a sudden spike in the numbers dying of starvation or being admitted to hospital with hunger. That's because Israel imposed a total siege on Gaza at the beginning of March and abolished the UN system delivering aid in favour of a murderous new system where Palestinians are massacred as they seek limited and often unusable aid. Around 1,000 Palestinians have been murdered at aid points alone. The Union of Agence France Presse, a crucial international, of course, news agency, issued a statement declaring that without intervention, the last reporters in Gaza will die of hunger, something it says there is no precedent for since the agency has been in existence, and that was in World War II. We warned you. We warned you, David Lammy. You had more than ample warning. With 21 months of live stream daily genocidal depravity. No crime in history has been so documented in history as it happened. No crime has been so confessed ever in history as it happened. Yet you continue to supply those crucial components for Israel's F-35 jets. You continue to refuse to describe even a single Israeli act as a war crime because you know that imposes legal obligations on you. You continue annual British trade with Israel worth £5.8 billion. You made the tokenistic gesture of suspending talks over a new trade treaty with Israel, and then the very next week, the British embassy in Israel celebrated the arrival of the UK trade envoy. When you imposed sanctions on two far-right Israeli ministers, the justification you offered was their horrendous extremist language rather than what they've actually done, because you know that would implicate the British government and indeed yourself. Crucially, you refuse to impose meaningful sanctions on Israel. Yet the only legal action your government has taken is against those opposed to the genocide by prescribing Palestine action. Right now, those opposed to genocide will be hauled through the British courts. You have made a bet, however. You've made a bet that an iron dome of Israeli and Western impunity will protect you forever. That is quite the bet. You are indeed safe now. But will that be the case forever? In 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? My view is you will lose your bet, Mr. Lammy. You and your colleagues have willingly made yourself complicit in a genocide. And one day there will be a knock at your door and you'll be led away in handcuffs to face trial for your role in genocide. These are because of choices you made, despite all the evidence you had at the time, overwhelming, incontrovertible evidence, endless evidence, actions, consequences. The Hague awaits, Mr. Lammy, both for you and for your colleagues. Please like and subscribe with your thoughts and your comments. Help us take on the pro-genocide media at patreon.com/owngenocide84. I'm travelling abroad at the moment, hence the slightly odd setup. I don't have a camera with me, but I've done my best here. I hope that was
you're not in your flat.
useful.
Okay.
We've got to keep the receipts.
Wondering.
We've got to make it clear that there will be consequences. Some of you are defeatists. You think there will never, ever be justice. But this crime is too big. It is too extreme. It is too depraved. It is too documented. It is too confessed to. We have to believe that the perpetrators and those complicit will face justice. Because if we don't believe that, then it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy that justice will not arrive. Justice will arrive. You've got to make it so. Please like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts and your comments. Help us take on the pro-genocide media at patreon.com/owngenocide84. You can listen to us on the podcast. Type in Owen Jones Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Share the video. I'll speak to you soon.
My God. My fountain pen, my actual fountain pen, and the ink for it. I don't have an inkwell. It's a self-filling one with a little lever on it. It is in the drawer, sitting to my left. I can't write with it anymore, unfortunately. I keep on meaning to take it up and give it to my stepdad. He does have a fountain pen, which he uses regularly to write sheet music for his jam sessions. I hope you get proven wrong as well, Reza. I sincerely do. because there has to be. Oh God. Nope, I've done with it. I love you, Sam and Emma, desperately, I really do, but I can't be arsed listening to those absolute fucking lunatics again. I can't do it. If there's any justice in the world, he'll be there as well, Jim. After all, I still live. And I am not alone in that belief. Obviously. I really do regret voting Labour back in '97. I do. At least I've got this one thing on my side. I've never voted for the Tories. Those are scum and evil. She used Scotland, my home, my country. It is my country, by the way. No one else's. It is mine's. She used us as fucking guinea pigs. So fuck her. I hope she's burning. Oh, rejoice. New laptop cooler, because when I lost my power the other day, when the power came back on, it fried my other laptop cooler, so I had to order a new one. That was Monday night going into Tuesday, by the way. Then the minute my benefit dropped into my account, I fucking ordered this one. And it is rather cool. Literally cool. And it's doing its job. It is actually cool. So more streams and not damaging my CPU, which needs upgraded. But it is doing its job, which is best. So lucky yous, more Katie. Nope, can't be arsed with Dale, fuck off. More please. Oh God, don't make me go. I love that emote from Helena's channel, I really do. That one is fucking awesome. Rest in peace, Maggie. Oh, for a more historical take, don't get me wrong, I love that Braveheart emote. For a more historical take The Outlaw King. Much better than Braveheart. Don't get me wrong, Braveheart's brilliant cinema and everything, blah blah blah. But yeah, it's not accurate at all. Thanks, Mel Gibson, you absolute fucking idiot. That based individual went up, Jim, you know that. Mind you, he'd probably like it down there, so he can beat the shit out of her. Braveheart is shit. Obviously. Let's see, what else have we got? Oh no. No, I'm not bringing that onto my channel. Oh, fuck yeah. She's something else, isn't she, Reza? Piss off, Sharon, you absolute fucking witch. Don't get me wrong, there is good witches. I was a green witch, by the way. back in the day. Then there was Bad Witches, Sharon Osbourne. She did, didn't she, Jim? She did. Is he? I didn't know that. That might explain a lot. Damn it. I accidentally shut down my phone there. Oh. Oh dear. Fuck it. Okay. The next video that came... Ah!
And how many?
You might be a Warhammer fan and player, Mr. Cleverly, but no, you're still a Tory, so fuck off. Okay. Double down. Oh, there it's there. Content. Oh, I'll put in the shot. Oh, rejoice, comrades! Anarchist MPT is here. Hi, Anarchist. Welcome, welcome. Content warning. Okay? Go.
Who were killed in the October 7th attacks, and yet so little outrage. When you see starving people turn up in what is effectively a fenced-off cattle pen, dehumanising Palestinians to the point where they're being regarded as animals. They're being herded like animals into a human abattoir. For the last 6 weeks, about 1,000 of them have literally been slaughtered. And this is all being done in the name of humanitarianism. So to be absolutely clear, an army that has put a fence around a people, blockaded it for 17 years, has starved people to death, builds these agricultural pens, forces these starving people to come and get food aid from them. When they get there, they're targeted and shot, and then they're carried off to hospitals where there are no pharmaceuticals. I've always called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the GHF, the Genocide Humanitarian Fig Leaf, which is precisely what I think it is. Because if you're going to get rid of UNRWA, you've got to reinvent some new thing. And what they did is they went to a bunch, literally, of cowboys, of former Marines and American service people, ex-servicemen, and said, we want you to do humanitarian work.
Contractors shooting in the direction of Palestinians who had just collected their food and were departing.
People who've been starved literally to death are crawling to get food.
Yeah.
They're being shot at directly by marksmen, Israeli marksmen. Nearly 700 people have been killed waiting for food in the last 6 weeks. Over 200 have been killed on the routes going to collect food. That's about 1,000 people, not that many fewer than the number of people who were killed in the October 7th attacks. And yet, so little outrage.
outraged.
They said the big justification for the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the GHF, was to stop Hamas diverting aid.
Feel free,
and yet
comrades.
what we have seen for the last 6 weeks or more since it came into existence is militants and others, criminal gangs and others, nourished and nurtured by the Israeli army, encouraged by them to go and shoot people.
Its leader, Yasser Abu Shabab, is an alleged former drug trafficker. Now he and up to 300 men are openly working with a new, much criticised aid distribution scheme backed by Israel and the US. But in the past, he's been accused of looting vast quantities of desperately needed aid.
That's what the GHF was all about. And it's, for my money, it is part of the much bigger strategy, which is about ethnic cleansing and genocide. They're starving people out of the north of Gaza to the south of Gaza. When they get there, they're being shot at. And the clear message is, get out or stay here and starve or be shot dead.
We've seen an internal UN document from late last year that describes Abu Shabab as a criminal, a gang leader and a primary figure in the systematic looting of humanitarian aid. And it says his base is in an area controlled by the Israeli military.
An Israeli opposition leader is making similar claims. Israel has provided assault rifles and light weapons to crime families in Gaza on Netanyahu's orders. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded by confirming he's supporting what he calls clans.
On the advice of security officials, we activated clans in Gaza that oppose Hamas. What's wrong with this? This is only good and saves the lives of IDF soldiers.
The label humanitarian is used by Israel to justify pretty much anything. So as long as you say it's humanitarian, you can do it. So a humanitarian city, i.e. a concentration camp, becomes acceptable because you're using the word humanitarian, implying that there's some kind of humanitarian effort. It's a bit like using the most moral, like Israel was the most moral army in the world. Is this the most moral concentration camp in the world? The Israeli army is the Houdini of modern warfare because they just escape, they get out of anything. And I think the philosophy is the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it.
We never target civilians.
We do not target civilians.
We would never target civilians.
There is not a chance in the world that Israel is purposely targeting civilians.
We're going out of our way to prevent civilian casualties.
Lies. The more you say we're not targeting civilians, the more civilians you can target. And that's precisely what's going on. And to make no mistake, Israeli politicians hardly keep their cards close to their chest. Netanyahu, almost from the start, said, we will do an Amalek-type genocide.
זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק, נצטווינו. אנו זוכרים ואנו נלחמים.
Amalek, this was the biblical injunction in the first book of Samuel. The Lord says to the prophet, go and kill Amalek, kill all of the tribe, kill their women, their children, their babies, their livestock, exterminate them. And not only did Netanyahu invoke this publicly, there were then soldiers in Gaza singing about Amalek. Posting Amalek injunctions. As they pressed buttons and blew up apartment blocks behind them. We have the intentionality to commit genocide, and we have the soldiers on the ground committing genocide. They've said it, and they get away with it, and that's the problem. Western governments have let them get away with it. That's what's led to today. I mean, it is deeply ironic that the occupying power, Israel, whose job it is to protect its population, is starving it to death. What's also interesting, of course, is that that's one of the charges against Netanyahu at the International Criminal Court. It's clear evidence that these charges against him are going to stick because we're seeing live streamed on our television Israel starving people to death and shooting them. So how ironic that an army, an organisation, a country that has been imposing the blockade against Gaza has been starving them to death and yet is in charge of the aid distributions. I mean, how sick is that? When I first started in UNRWA in 2007, Gaza was the place that most needed a communications director. That's the place I spent most of my time, often 4 or 5 days a week. Gaza is a place I know well. I've spent a lot of time there. My own office has been reduced to rubble. And so, of course, it's been heartbreaking, not just because of the UNRWA operation being illegally cut short, but also because the people I know, the colleagues I had and the friends I have in Gaza, many of them have been killed, many of them have been driven into exile, and many of them are living homeless and in the most appalling concentration camps, as they're now being called, for 2 years or more. UNRWA for many people, including the Palestinians, stands for their individual and collective rights. It protects the right to education, it protects the right to health, etc., etc. But at a much greater level, it also is an expression of an institution that protects the refugee rights, including the right of return. And for Israelis, who clearly feel that if the right of return were implemented, the Jewish character of the state would be destroyed, they see UNRWA, in a sense, as they might see Adolf Hitler, as someone who wants to destroy the Jewish character, the Jews in that state.
אונר"א הוא ארגון שמנציח את בעיית הפליטים הפלסטינים, והוא גם מנציח את הנרטיב של זכות השיבה כביכול במטרה לחסל את מדינת ישראל. ולכן אונר"א צריך לעבור מן העולם.
Of course, that's complete nonsense. There's nothing anti-Semitic about UNRWA. And in fact, all the allegations that the Israelis have made about UNRWA staff being part of the October attacks, none of that has been substantiated. It's the mother of all lies. And the independent Kelowna investigation, so-called after the former French foreign minister, found that Israel produced absolutely no evidence to substantiate its claims that UNRWA staff had taken part. And yet, a large number of donors cut off their funds to UNRWA. They bought in to this mythology that UNRWA had taken part in this. It was complete nonsense, but it gave all of the justification that Israel needed to try and get rid of UNRWA. For them, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get rid of UNRWA, so they quickly spirited through the Israeli parliament 2 bills which have outlawed UNRWA, and that meant it became impossible.
Nothing wrong with competence. This is quite good. Because I'm moneybags. Seriously, that 850 win I got from my bingo, fuck yes, needed it. £100 to the credit card, which isn't even reaching the sides really of the credit card debt me and Super Happy are living under at the minute. And 300 to my niece. Her next door neighbour, their flat went on fire, and the wall that they share, all of my lovely sweetie's kitchen stuff, including her she's given me a get out clause. All of their kitchen stuff, including her cooker, and our much praised NutriBullet and air fryer, got fucked. Can't work. The council are giving her a new flat. Much baseness up here in Scotland. She lives up in northeast, up in that direction, 63 miles. I am going back up. I'm going home. I'm visiting on Friday to see them all, including my sister, my niece's mother, youngest sister, and to say hello to my nephews. One is called Bungle, or as I call him, the Gaping Maw, because the boy eats everything. Just everything. Seriously, my dude, that mind you, in saying that, he does actually play football. He is part of St Johnstone's youth team. He is a left winger, not in the political sense. On you go, Bungle. Good for you. Think of him Danny McGrain-esque for all you football fans. God, I miss him. So, my nephew is like him, essentially. Polite way of saying he's a little bit of a thug on the football pitch. But myself, my sister-in-law, and his father have educated him. No. Do not become the new Danny McGrain. He was hated on the football pitch. But again, Danny McGrain was fucking awesome. One of the best defenders Celtic have ever had, obviously. He is a rather good football player. The way dude, oh no, actually, he's kind of kind of broad. His older brother, he's tall and lanky. He's taken on his pretty much his dad's sort of build. For ease, I'll call him my brother-in-law. He's tall and broad. Really good mechanic. I do love him. He is brilliant.
Possible for UNRWA to operate. For me, the real shame is that the UN Secretary General never really stood up and said, we should turn UNRWA's main headquarters in Jerusalem, 10 acres, a huge great property, into a surge hub for Gaza, and to move all the other agencies, World Food Programme, UNICEF, OCHA, all the others, into that. And that would have made it much more difficult for the Israelis to kick UNRWA out. That never happened. The UN frankly buckled and blinked, and the rest is history. UNRWA's headquarters in occupied East Jerusalem, which is the last big international presence in East Jerusalem, that is now gone. And actually what's so terrifying but true, if you look at Gaza,
Damning.
it's a massive isolated Palestinian community where all hope has been drained and they're being starved of the essentials of life. And that is because the Palestinians truly are the dispossessed of the earth. They have been denied the right of self-determination. They've been denied the right to their own state. And now they're being denied the right to life on an industrial scale. And I use the word industrial advisedly because that is what, as we know from not too distant European history, was perpetrated against the Jews. And what we're now seeing today is people, a nation, however you want to call it, against whom the Holocaust was perpetrated. We are seeing those same people create a concentration camp in southern Gaza. How clangingly ironic is that? And my fear is that this isn't so much or just a concentration camp. I think it may well be a transit camp. People are going to be told, well, either you go, get off your land, you have no right of return, you have no collective individual rights, you don't have the right to self-determination, get lost. But if you want to stay behind, we'll simply starve you out. And that is the stark choice that the people of Gaza face today. It's hard to conceive of evil that's this bad, so it's hard to say, yes, I thought of it. On the other hand, once you have a people that can weaponize the Holocaust, that can weaponize anti-Semitism, that is a prescription for the worst kind of violence the world has ever known, frankly. And I think what we're now seeing in Gaza, it's pretty much up there with the worst violence the world has ever known. There is this great acronym PEP, which is Progressive Except Palestine, and I think it really applies to a lot of governments. They can be very liberal about some things. I don't think that necessarily applies to the Trump administration, but certainly the British government here and other European governments, they are liberal on pretty much everything except for Palestine, where there is absolute fear of the Israel lobby. There's a lot of guilt about the Holocaust, and there's a lot of pressure and I think aggression and bullying from the Israel lobby. And I think those different dynamics play very heavily on.
Go back a few seconds. Oh no, wait. Oh, go on. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
And there's a lot of pressure and I think aggression and bullying from the Israel lobby. And I think those different dynamics play very heavily on Israel-Palestine policy. And I think that explains this concept of the PEP. There's a perfect storm, if you like, of dynamics that come to bear on this. And it's very unfortunate for Palestinians. You've got, these historical, these political, these economic, all of these factors that just weigh so heavily against the international community doing the right thing for you. It's very clear to me that at the level of the people, we have won. There's clear acknowledgement on a mass scale that the injustices perpetrated against the Palestinians, the denied of their right to self-determine, and the mass industrial scale slaughter they're now experiencing is completely unjustifiable. But it's at the level of government that the Palestinians are isolated, and that's because the Israel lobby is so much in control. I mean, the attacks on me are pretty much history, but there were quite a few attacks on me. Of course, I was called, and I'm a raging anti-Semite, of course. The UN ambassadors of Israel started a campaign writing to the Secretary General a very public letter asking for me to be sacked, for my salary, my pension to be taken away, all that sort of stuff. But I mean, that pales into insignificance compared with what the Palestinians have gone through. I think the reason why the lobby has got stronger and stronger is because at every stage, Western governments in particular have simply buckled. And the lobby has been sent a signal that the more you put pressure on us, the more you make unsubstantiated allegations, the more you accuse us erroneously of anti-Semitism, the more that works and the more we'll give way to you. And so incrementally, we've seen the lobby empowered. But make no mistake about it, it is the complicity of Western governments in that empowerment that has allowed that to happen and has allowed us to get to the stage today where a Western-backed, live-streamed genocide is taking place, and we still have a situation where no meaningful sanctions can be brought against Israel. And in spite of the brilliant report by Francesca Albanese, the UN Special Rapporteur for the Situation of Human Rights, she has shone a light into the profiteering from the genocide.
My report exposes a system, something that is so structural. The economy of the occupation has turned into an economy of genocide, and so there have been people and organizations that have profited from the violence, the killing, the maiming, the destruction in Gaza and in other parts of the occupied Palestinian territory.
In spite of that, governments aren't just refusing to take action, they're pushing back against her. And in the case of the US, they've sanctioned her, which of course is a violation of the UN Privileges and Immunities Convention. And it's a moral abomination that someone as brave and as fearless as Francesca, an individual doing a job for which, by the way, she...
You heard the man correctly. That dogshit of an administration fucking sanctioned a person who works for the UN, which is not legally viable. It will not stand. It can't be recognised, essentially, put it that way. Oi, Donald, you dickhead, you cannot sanction people who work for the UN. You are a member of the UN. Leave it if you like. You're already an international pariah anyway. Not legally viable to sanction a human being. You can sanction a country. Hint. But AIPAC, they can get sanctioned. Oh damn, there I go being anti-Semitic.
He receives absolutely no pay whatsoever, can have the most powerful government in the world threatening her in this way. It's an absolute disgrace. And what a shame that countries, the UK and others, Italy, haven't made a more forceful defence of her. I mean, that's disgraceful. I think the UN has to think very, very carefully about the sanctions against Francesca. Volker Turk, the human rights czar of the United Nations, spoke out. The Human Rights Council has made a statement, and others have. But the fact is that if you can sanction Francesca, why can't you sanction the Secretary General? The problem will come back to bite the UN on the backside if it doesn't stand up very firmly for Francesca. And on the imprisonment thing, I mean, in the UK, the government is using anti-terrorism legislation against demonstrators. I mean, clearly the legislation should have been used against terrorists. The idea of using this anti-terror legislation to imprison people who are protesting against a genocide puts these governments on the wrong side of history, but it is a very slippery slope. If you can imprison people for demonstrating against genocide, then, you know, I hate to think where that goes, but it goes to a very, very bad place in terms of democracy. Well, the rule book's been thrown away, so the next time anyone invades a country, Britain, America and others will be laughed at if they say, I'm sorry, it's a violation of international law. You know, Netanyahu, Gallant and others are allowed to get away with invading, occupying. The occupation's gone on since 1967. You know, that has been the international rule book was there, it's never been applied. But I think what we've seen with Gaza, we've seen the attacks on Karim Khan, the prosecutor at the International Criminal Court. We've seen all sorts of action against people who are trying to stand up for international law. There's even a story that's out recently that David Cameron, the then Foreign Secretary, phoned up the International Criminal Court and said, if you proceed with these cases against Yoav Gallant and Netanyahu, we will defund. A British Foreign Secretary phoning up an international justice mechanism charged with implementing international law and threatening to defund it. I mean, what better illustration can you possibly have of the attitude of so-called Western democracies towards international rule of law? And I think once that rule book has been thrown away, the world is in a very difficult place, because the whole idea of the Holocaust, for example, and the way it's been commemorated is never again. And all of the international law that grew up because of those appalling events of the 1930s and 40s, very much in response to the Holocaust and the treatment of the Jews, that's all being thrown away. And the hugely resounding irony is the reason that is being thrown away is the behaviour of the Jewish state. And for me, that is unconscionable. Double Down News brands itself as the future of journalism, and I have to say, the more I consume media stuff, the more I think they really are the future of journalism. They dare to say things which other people don't. They dare to challenge the narrative, the orthodoxy that's pervaded by many of mainstream media, and I think for that reason alone, amongst many others, I think they're really worthy of your support. So join the future of journalism, support Double Down News on Patreon.
Oi! Work! God damn you, work! Ah, there we go. Thank you, Owen. Right. This one needs highlighting. Where is it?
This is huge. The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court was warned that he would be destroyed unless he withdrew the arrest warrants against the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his former Defence Minister, Yoav Gallant. Those arrest warrants were requested by the chief prosecutor last May 2025 and then issued by the court last November. Of course, these arrest warrants are for war crimes and crimes against humanity perpetrated by the Israeli state, specifically in Gaza. Now, this is an article published by Middle East Eye, an invaluable source of information, not least, of course, about Israel's genocide. Middle East Eye reports that the warning was given to Karim Khan, the British lawyer who's the court's prosecutor, by Nicholas Kaufman, a British-Israeli lawyer at the court who, according to a note of the meeting, was authorised to make a proposal that would allow Khan to climb down the tree. Let me quote from the article. He told Khan to apply to the court to reclassify the warrants and underlying information as confidential. This, it was suggested, would allow Israel to access the details of the allegations, which it could not do at the time, and challenge them in private without the outcome being made public. But Kaufman warned that if it emerged that the chief prosecutor was applying for more arrest warrants for far-right ministers Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich over their promotion of illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, then all options would be off the table. Kaufman told Khan, "They will destroy you and they will destroy the court." I'll put this in context shortly, very important context. But Middle East Eye report that, according to the meeting note, quite understandably, Khan and his wife understood this as a threat. The lawyer Kaufman, when approached by Middle East Eye, said, "I do not deny that I told Khan that he should be looking for a way to extricate himself from his errors. I'm not authorised to make any proposals on behalf of the Israeli
Why
government,
are you doing their job
nor did
then?
I." Kaufman said he had told Khan he feared that bringing more arrest warrants would encourage further US sanctions that would risk destroying the court, that adopting a policy like Samson, bringing the whole court down on him and its employees, would not serve the purpose for what the court was conceived. And Middle East Eye say that Kaufman told Khan he had spoken at the time to Roy Schondorf, who's the legal advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu. Crucial detail there. I mean, the note also says that Kaufman told Khan he considered him a friend and had differences with Netanyahu. So what Middle East Eye are presenting here is a shocking allegation that a threat was passed to the chief prosecutor that he would be destroyed if he didn't drop the arrest warrants against Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister, as well as, of course, further arrest warrants to be issued against other Israeli leaders. Now, of course, Donald Trump's White House imposed sanctions on the ICC this February.
Round of applause for Tim Speak.
As retribution, gangster-like retribution, for its temerity to try and hold to account the leadership of its key strategic ally, whose war crimes and crimes against humanity and genocide, of course, it's armed and facilitated. Those sanctions ban Karim Khan, the ICC judge, and staff from entering the US, froze any assets they held in the US, threatened any US citizens who offer material support to them with civil and criminal penalties. Francesca Albanese, the UN special reporter who has done so much courageous work exposing Israel's Western facilitated genocide, had sanctions imposed on her as well. Middle East Eye also reported last month that the former British Foreign Minister, Lord David Cameron, threatened to defund and withdraw from the ICC if it issued arrest warrants for Israeli leaders. That was reported in April 2024 in a heated phone call with Karim Khan, the chief prosecutor. Middle East Eye report that Cameron told Khan that applying for warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant would be like dropping a hydrogen bomb. Now, crucially, this could be a criminal offence. Britain's a founding member of the ICC, that is the Rome Statute, with all the legal obligations that entails. And such threats could constitute an obstruction of justice, which needs to be thoroughly investigated. Fingers crossed, of course, for our criminal justice system doing just that. It is notable that these bombshell stories have been entirely ignored by the Western media outlets. That one, and as things stand, the revelation that the chief prosecutor was threatened with being destroyed if he didn't withdraw the arrest warrants against Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister. There's a long history of the Israeli state deploying gangster-style threats against the ICC. Last year, it was revealed in Israeli-Palestinian media outlet Plus 972 magazine that Fatou Bensouda, the former chief prosecutor, that is the predecessor of Karim Khan, was threatened by the Israeli state long before the genocide began, when she opened the court's investigation into Israeli war crimes, which Karim Khan built on. That's the point. This is an investigation that began after the 7th of October. The investigation was launched in 2021. It led to Yossi Cohen, a close ally of Netanyahu and a former head of Mossad, which is, of course, the Israeli secret services, reportedly launching a campaign of intimidation. He reportedly told her, "You should help us and let us take care of you. You don't want to be getting into things that could compromise your security or that of your family." A gangster threat, a mafia-style threat. That's what we're dealing with there. Not even subtle, is it? Listen to Karim Khan last May discussing pressure put on him.
Of course, this situation, unfortunately, lies on the San Andreas fault of international politics and strategic interests. And of course, I've had some elected leaders speak to me and be very blunt.
Completely crazy.
This court is built for Africa and for thugs like Putin, was what one senior leader told me. We don't view it like that. This court is the legacy of Nuremberg. This court is a sad indictment of humanity. This court should be the triumph of law over power and brute force. Grab what you can, take what you want, do what you will. And we're going to simply be, we're not going to be dissuaded by threats or any other activities.
So he was told by one Western leader that the court was built for Africa and for thugs like Putin. Well, that just sums it up, that the ICC must never do anything which threatens or challenges Western interests. Israel is a key strategic ally, armed and backed to the teeth by Western states, and thus it is deemed an outrage that that anyone would dare to investigate crimes which the West has facilitated throughout. Indeed, what the West is facilitating, and indeed perpetrating, is genocide. Yesterday, Omar Bartov, the Israeli-American professor of Holocaust and genocide studies at Brown Universities, one of the world...
Whoops. You can go there for a minute. I will be back momentarily. Oh, wrong one. I will be back. Haha! I am back. Give me a second. Oh, I'll read that out in a second, Jim. Give me a second. We'll get back to Owen in a second after this quote from The Guardian that Jim Speak found for me. Thank you, Jim. Israeli government, parliament and military would like to see the Palestinian people as such disappear from the map and from consciousness. Excuse me. For that reason, we must urgently warn against the potential for genocide before it happens. Again, excuse me. Rather than belatedly condemning it after it has already taken place. Omer Bartov, 29th of November 2023. Bartov, you absolute fucking scumbag. Excuse me? The Guardian, you actually published this. You're also scum. I used to treat you with respect. I don't. Not anymore. And haven't done for the last decade, really. Oh, for my sins, I was a Guardian subscriber. I paid them money because they were seen as left-leaning. Bollocks to that with that one quote, at least. And lots of other fucking things. Plus transphobia. Delightful, as always. Guardian, you are bastards. Fuck off. What in the almighty world is fucking happening? Guardian, this is your only based person that you have, and he's only a columnist, not an actual fucking journalist for your paper. He should, shouldn't he? He does have that platform, being a former Israeli Prime Minister. He's not Likud, is he, Jim? Do you know? I haven't heard. If obviously Smotrich and Ben Gvir, they're fucking beyond the pale as far as I'm concerned, and they have been for all of their fucking life. I can't remember what party Bartov was. Oh, was it Olmert? Oh yeah. Well, he has that platform as well. Yeah, that's the one that works at Brown, isn't it? The one that I listen to the most, and all of you should. Hopefully, I assume you already know this man. Alan Pappy, praise be. Actual Israeli citizen. Praise be, Alan Pappy. He is based. He has been on Downstream. The interview part of Novara. I have watched him many times across all of social media, and praise be to Exeter University for hiring him, because the man is a fucking legend. His books are on my Amazon wish list. The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine is sold out. You will be getting your copies, obviously, so it's still on. I should have already bought it by now, really. Naughty Katie. I will get round to it. I will buy it and read it for myself.
World's preeminent scholars of the Holocaust had an article for the New York Times entitled, I'm a genocide scholar, I know it when I see it. I've interviewed Omar Bartov twice, and he was one of those who resisted using the term genocide to begin with, although he has never disputed, of course, that Israel was committing war crimes. He changed his mind last May when the IDF ordered 1 million Palestinians sheltering in Rafah in the south of Gaza, then the only city which was relatively undamaged, to flee, whilst the Israeli army then destroyed much of the city. He then concluded, at that point, it appeared no longer possible to deny that the pattern of IDF operations was consistent with the statements denoting genocidal intent made by Israeli leaders in the days after the Hamas attack. Bartov notes some of those examples of genocidal intent expressed by Israeli leaders. Mr. Netanyahu had urged his citizens to remember what Amalek did to you, a quote many interpreted as a reference to the demand in a biblical passage calling for the Israelites to kill alike men and women, infant and sucklings of their ancient enemy. Government and military officials said they were fighting human animals and later called for total annihilation. Nissim Vaturi, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, said on X or Twitter that Israel's task must be erasing the Gaza Strip from the face of the earth. Now, Bartov then goes on to conclude, Israel's actions could be understood only as the implementation of the expressed intent to make the Gaza Strip uninhabitable for its Palestinian population. I believe the goal was and remains today to force the population to leave the Strip altogether, or considering that it has nowhere to go, to debilitate the enclave through bombings and severe deprivation of food, clean water, sanitation and medical aid, to such an extent that it is impossible for Palestinians in Gaza to maintain or reconstitute their existence as a group. He says that given his background, having grown up in a Zionist family, lived half his life in Israel, served in the IDF as a soldier and officer, spent much of his career researching war crimes and the Holocaust, this was a painful conclusion to reach and one that I resisted as long as I could. He goes on, but I have been teaching classes on genocide for a quarter of a century. I can recognise one when I see one. It's very striking in his column that he says that most having grown up in a Zionist family, lived half his life in Israel, served in the IDF as a soldier and officer, spent much of his career researching war crimes and the Holocaust, this was a painful conclusion to reach and one that I resisted as long as I could. He goes on, but I have been teaching classes on genocide for a quarter of a century. I can recognise one when I see one. It's very striking in his column that he says that most genocide scholars are cautious about applying this term to contemporary events, precisely because of the tendency, since it was coined by the Jewish-Polish lawyer Raphael Lemkin in 1944, to attribute it to any case of massacre or inhumanity. Bear that fact in mind, because there is a consensus now, which has prevailed for a long time, a consensus amongst genocide scholars that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, including genocide scholars in Israel, such as, or Israeli, those with Israeli heritage, such as Omar Bartov, despite the institutional reluctance to use the term for the reasons that the professor sets out. One day, in the not too distant future, the idea that anyone could claim that this crime was anything other than a genocide will be regarded as absurd as it is obscene. Yesterday, the United Nations reported that at least 10 children in Gaza every day lose one or both of their legs. In the coming reckoning, the politicians who facilitated this will go to prison, and the journalists who cheered it on will have their careers and their reputations destroyed. Please like and subscribe with your thoughts and your comments. Help us take on the pro-genocide media, patreon.com/OJs84. You make it all possible. That's why we can do all the work we do across all the different media platforms. We reach millions of people every month because of you. And you can listen to us on the podcast. I always read through your comments, so I'd love to hear your thoughts as ever. Take care of yourself. I'll speak to you soon.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, gimme. Give me a minute. Where are we? Middle East Eye. Your channel? Rejoice, comrades! I have joined Middle East Eye. I now have membership on YouTube. Because I be based. Where is it? Got it.
Is this the end of the International Criminal Court? On Tuesday, we brought you the explosive story of Karim Khan, the ICC chief prosecutor, being threatened by one of his own colleagues, British-Israeli ICC lawyer Nicholas Kaufman. According to ICC documents we've seen, Kaufman met with Khan for drinks in May and attempted to persuade him to either drop his arrest warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, or allow Israel to challenge the accusations of war crimes privately. During the meeting, Karim Khan was told that if he didn't cooperate, that they will destroy you and they will destroy the court. Now, under the Trump administration, the chief prosecutor has been sanctioned, as have 4 ICC judges, with warnings that the US could even sanction the ICC itself. So can the World Court survive these sweeping attacks, or is the very framework of international law crumbling before our eyes? I spoke to Luis Moreno Ocampo, the former chief of the ICC, to hear his take on the fate of the institution he helped set up. Luis Moreno Ocampo, thank you so much for joining us.
No, my pleasure to be here. It's an important moment to discuss these issues.
I want to start by getting your reaction to a story that we broke on Tuesday. It involved the ICC chief prosecutor Karim Khan being threatened by another ICC lawyer, Nicholas Kaufman, who allegedly has ties to Netanyahu's government. He, in our story, tells Khan that if he doesn't stop trying to prosecute Israeli leaders, that he and the court will be destroyed. What is your reaction to this story?
Well, but can you that UK and US were threatening him if he prosecute Netanyahu. So this was a personal meeting with his lawyer that Khan knew because both were litigating before the SEC. So I don't think it added too much to it, to Khan knowledge. Khan did his job. Khan, the important thing here is Khan did what he had to do, investigate the case, warn Israel and Hamas that he will conduct investigation and will do request a warrant. Then he received pressure, he explained he will do it, and he did it. And the argument that the lawyer was using was that Israel could conduct its own investigations. Because according with the law, that would be the way to stop the case. As soon as Israel conduct a national investigation, actually will stop. But Israel is not doing that. Did not in May, and US was saying, oh, we need more time for Israel. Okay, November. The Arab warrant was issued in November, so Israel had plenty of time. It did not investigate. And even today, there are no investigation of the crimes. And in fact, yeah, so going back to your point, initial point is this is just illustrating the type of pressure the prosecutor had.
Because, and to your point, you know, the story goes that Kaufman was offering Khan this opportunity to take these investigations into the Israeli leader and the former defense minister into a private setting where Israel can address these accusations and deal with them without the result being made public. But doesn't this kind of undermine the very purpose of having an international court where these cases can be heard in front of the public and where leaders can be held accountable?
Well, but it was opinions of a private lawyer who, as he said, represented no one. So it's a good story to show the type of pressure the prosecutor had. For me, the question is, who's protecting the court? Because UK was attacking the court, Israel is attacking the court, US attacking the court. They are sanctioned. US is sanctioning the prosecutor and the judges. So who's protecting them? Where are the Arab countries protecting the court? It's the moment where the Arab countries, led by Tunisia maybe, or Jordan, there are two Arab countries members of the SEC, Tunisia and Jordan. But even Algeria requested the court to investigate the crimes. Palestine did it. So, and the Arab League support that. So Arab League should support the court. Arab League should be active supporting the court. That's the moment. It's not about what the private lawyer did. It was not. It's a marginal story. It's showing the type of pressure the prosecutor has. But the real thing is the court does its job. Is exposing crimes, saying that Netanyahu should answer to the judges, and the court is under attack. Where are the Arab countries supporting the court?
What kind of support should these Arab countries offer to the ICC to try and counteract these attacks that are coming from non-ICC members such as the US and Israel?
For instance, now judges and prosecutors of the court cannot use credit cards. So Arab countries can offer, look, we have this bank, use the credit cards. You can have this credit card. So Arab countries could do something specific to support the court, or politically supporting the court, making connection with the Europeans and the South Americans and the Africans who are supporting the court, and make a coalition of countries supporting the court. It's a time to be firm, supporting the law, because that's the only it's sad, but the only solution for the Gaza people is that the court are strengthened and respected. Nothing else.
But we've also reported on other attempts to intimidate the ICC prosecutor. Just last month, we had a story about David Cameron, who was then the Foreign Secretary of the UK, calling Khan and telling him just shortly before these warrants were issued that if he was to make this take the step and issue warrants for...
Sorry, my other phone was misbehaving for a second there. PSA, David Cameron was our Prime Minister. He is a Tory. He is scum. So him doing this... Oi, Dave, fuck off. Literally, as a Prime Minister and as a Foreign Secretary, you are a bastard. You are complicit in genocide. Fantastic. The sooner we get you out of political life, the better. You went, you left, you went back to your family life. You were gone for a while, then you came back because Boris invited you back in as our foreign. Was it Boris or was it Rishi? Oh no, he did indeed when he was Prime Minister. Holy fuck. I feel for his children, I really do. Imagine having that as a father. Ugh. In fact, imagine having any of them as your parent of any description. Seriously? Please tell me Truss doesn't have kids. Dear God. I know Rishi does. And so does Kid Starver. Obviously not his own children. Obviously. Getting my skincare regime for the morning. Day cream. Day cream. For anyone interested, Naturally Radiant, Superdrug's own brand. It is amazing, as you can tell, because look at my perfect skin. Might be pale as fuck, but fucking hell, it's well looked after. Please go and check out your local Superdrug. They be awesome, and I am a VIP member of Superdrug. I've been a member for 16 years now. Wow, that's a while.
Netanyahu and Gallant that the UK could take the dramatic step of removing itself from the Rome Statute. Of course, the UK is one of the founding members of the ICC. So clearly, some of this pressure is also coming from within the ICC countries as well, not just from outside of them.
No, okay. I think you're doing a great job exposing the type of pressure the prosecutor and the judge received, including from a private lawyer from Israel, including from UK former Prime Minister.
I would think.
And the question for me is, can you do something similar? Follow up. Okay, these are the attackers. Who are the defenders? Where are the countries supporting the court? Where are they? And where are the Arab countries supporting the court? Algeria requested the court to investigate. Are they supporting it? Palestine requested to intervention. Are Arab countries supporting Palestine? So protecting Palestine requests. So if you can do a follow-up on that, that would be great. Because it's not just about who are threatening the court. There are many, including Trump, including Senators Lindsey Graham and others. So who are defending the court? Because Palestinians have nothing else. Nothing else.
Do you think that the ICC is in an existential crisis right now? I mean, as it stands, obviously the sanctions that have come from the US have targeted the ICC prosecutor himself. They've also extended to 4 ICC judges. The Trump administration has threatened they could extend those sanctions to the ICC itself. US sanctions are not something that any Arab country could really offer a meaningful counteract to. They are going to drastically impact the ICC's ability to even operate. Do you think the court itself is in a very precarious position right now?
Trump will last 3 years more as a president. The court is a permanent court. The court will survive. The problem is what happened with the world. Are we going to survive as humanity if we are killing each other? That is probably the question. It's not about the court survival, it's humanity survival. Can we live in a time when we're killing each other?
I mean, what do you think of this moment then? Many people, including Palestinians, look to the ICC as being symbolic of the rules-based order and the ability to seek justice in situations such as genocide, which is the one that we're seeing ourselves in. The ICC itself is a symbolic body that represents this rules-based order. Do you think that we are in a situation where that itself, the way that our word operates, the way that the agreed upon tenets of humanitarian law are themselves under threat?
Well, I think if we can use this moment as an opportunity to learn, we have to learn. What's happening today is you have people using crimes, genocide, crimes against humanity to attack civilians everywhere, in Darfur, in Ethiopia, in many places.
I'll go and actually check to make sure she's not with them.
And many states accept that now. And that's bad, that's very bad. We say never again, and have genocide now an accepted military strategy. On the other side, you have courts. The International Court of Justice say there's a risk of genocide in Gaza. You have the International Criminal Court, who indicted Netanyahu for starvation in Gaza. So these two models are at the same time. It's like you arrive to the corner in the street and you see the red light and the green light at the same time. It's confusing. And that's what's happening. The ICC, International Court of Justice, are the red light saying no crimes. Some states say, okay, I don't care about the red line. The red light, I go through.
Hello,
okay,
everyone.
That's a tension. That's the moment. How to be sure we keep the red line and no car is moving on. That's a challenge, and that for me is the challenge for the journalists to present not just the conflict, the solution. Discuss why these states are not stopping before the red light.
I mean, that is an important question, and you, as somebody with your experience in setting up the ICC and being the first ICC prosecutor, you would have come across a lot of these states that don't want to be prosecuted, leaders that don't want to be held accountable for their actions, some of whom that you have been at the forefront of prosecuting. What are those conversations like, and what kind of pressure can the ICC and other bodies of that nature, wield in order to try and bring about, or at least protect, some sort of framework of justice in the world that we live in?
Well, when I see what's happening in Gaza, after 1.5 is routine that they kill kids and bomb it. We need to react. We need to say it's not normal. This is not. It's abnormal. And the way to react is not just talking about. It's talking about Gaza, and saying, "Finish. This is illegal. It's a criminal activity. Should stop. Should be stopped." And the way to make this voice louder is supporting the court already existing. That's the new thing. ICC has just 20 years of activity. So we need to understand this is future. War is the past. Humanity will not survive if war is a mechanism to solve conflicts.
Hi, sweetie. Lettuce Lady is one of our former Prime Ministers, the shortest serving ever. Elizabeth Ann Truss, or Liz Truss, if you wish. She has 2 children, and dear God. I will check, Jim. Give me a second. Quasi. Carty. One. Kwasi has one child. Oh, fuck off. He went to Eton. Oh, dear God. And Cambridge. Delightful. He has been... Oh, he still wanted to say... Oh, for fuck's sake. Kwasi Ado Alfred Kortine, born 26th of May, 1975. He's only 4 years older than me. What the fuck? He was born in London. Spelthorne. Lincolnshire? Kent, right. So... Oh, he's just outside Windsor. So, Toryshire. Christ, that's a small constituency in the scheme of things. So the places that border are Walton-on-Thames, Egham, Ashford, Hounslow, Twickenham and Terrington, and to the north, Windsor. Yep, Toryshire. Oh, sorry. So he's in Surrey. Or his seat was in Surrey. Oh, he didn't stand last year. I wonder why. To all my Surrey comrades, I feel for you. I really do. Having that as your MP, much sympathy. Yeah, lettuce lady. She didn't last as long as I will move on to that next. I will show you it. It is deliciously funny. A head of lettuce. I'm assuming it was an iceberg lettuce. Lasted longer than she did as Prime Minister of this great country. So funny, so fucking funny. Haha. A lettuce outlasted you, Liz. Get wrecked.
Is a game called Fortnite, a video game very popular. The winner had to kill all the others. So Fortnite could be a good metaphor of the world today if we are not supporting, strengthening the courts and the legal system. So we need political leaders making efforts to protect the legal system. We need to integrate political power and legal standards. That's the only way to protect people in Gaza, in Ethiopia, in Darfur.
You have spoken about the role that Arab governments should be playing in trying to protect the ICC from these kinds of attacks. But I wonder what your message is to other countries, Western countries, who have attempted to stop Israel being held accountable, Israeli leaders being held accountable by the ICC, such as the UK, for example.
Well, it would be interesting to interview Mr. Cameron or interview the current Chancellor of Germany, who also say that he will invite Netanyahu. He withdrew after, because when people say, journalists sometimes say, oh, ICC is not working because Netanyahu is not arrested, Putin is not arrested. Well, Putin did not fly to South Africa. Putin did not fly to Brazil. Netanyahu could not go to Germany. Even the Chancellor want to invite him, because he knows if he goes to Germany, he will be arrested. Judges in Germany will order to arrest him. So that's why it's a moment, yes, you can expose the position of some German leaders or British leaders on this topic, but do more than criticize other leaders. Check the Gaza people and strengthening the court's decisions and the court activities is the way to protect Gaza. One of the ways to protect Gaza people.
I'm curious, when you were the ICC prosecutor, did you face these kinds of attempts to intimidate or blackmail you against doing your job?
Oh, depending on the case, because sometimes they like the case. Look, for instance, Senator Lindsey Graham was recommending Khan and applauding Karim Khan when Karim Khan indicted President Putin. So when the prosecutor they investigate enemies, they are happy. When they investigate friends, I'm happy. When I request indictment for President Bashir, some countries were very unhappy, and some of them explained to me how important for them was oil in Sudan. So economic interest, political interest affect the prosecutor. So prosecutor should not take into consideration these factors, the political factors, the economic factors, should go ahead. And that's what the court is doing. And when you do that, yes, countries are unhappy with you.
There have been those who have criticized the ICC in the past of having a certain kind of double standard, of being, in the crudest terms, a court for African leaders in the third world, as some people have put it. When you hear that accusation, I'm sure that you have heard that criticism before. What do you say to that?
Excuse me, sorry about that.
African victims need protection. Their full victims should be protected. Kenyan victims should be protected. That was my job, and I did my job. So the sad story is, when I was a prosecutor, there were almost no massive crimes in Europe or in many Asia, in the Middle East. Or the Middle East were Iraq and Afghanistan. But there were, and we started investigation in Afghanistan.
Never forget Tony Blair and Alistair Campbell, even though he's done his great noticing,
and that's why
are war criminals.
Center of my attention, because the most serious crimes in my time were in Africa. Now it's gone. Africa is ignored because there are much more serious crimes everywhere. And that's why the world is complicated. In any case, the court is doing his job. Former President Duterte is in jail, showing the court is active, and that the court is permanent and it's not forgetting. It's still focusing on their full crimes. One of the militia is in jail, will receive a decision this year. So the court is doing its job. The people and judges have to understand how the work is working, and it's not just about the crimes committed. It's about who tried to investigate them and who tried to protect the criminals. Okay.
And when it comes to the current ICC prosecutor, Karim Khan, who is on a leave of absence right now because of sexual misconduct allegations, the role of the chief at the head of this court is now in question. The court seems to be unable to press forward with some of its the work that they've been doing, some of the arrest warrants that they've been pursuing, and at the same time there are these threats of sanctions. So when you take a look at where the court is, and we heard those threats before about the ICC itself will be destroyed if some of these actions were taken place, there are clearly people that are pursuing and whose interest it is to bring this court down. Do you think the court itself can survive this moment, and what does it need to do in order to retain its reputation, retain the respect that it has among specifically Western leadership today?
The court will survive. The court is a permanent institution. President Trump has 3 years more and will go on. So what happened today is that people, this is most important. No, it's not the most important. The court will survive. The allegations against Mr. Khan, the prosecutor, are under investigation, and it's the deputy prosecutor in charge. Her challenge is that, can she continue presenting the cases they are doing? They are informing they are doing cases in Venezuela, they are preparing cases in Libya, they are preparing cases more in Israel, including what happened in Ramallah, in the West Bank. So that is a challenge for the deputy prosecutor in charge. Show the court is still working. Keep doing. That's the only thing that's what we need.
And finally, Mr. Ocampo, I want to bring you back to what you said earlier in our conversation about the Arab countries and their the role that they need to play in order to defend the rights of Palestinians to call for justice. What is your message to them?
Arab League should protect Palestine, and one way to do it is through protecting the International Criminal Court. Arab League should do that. The Islamic Conference should do that. The Islamic Conference was protecting the Rohingya in Myanmar. They should do something similar to protect
I will get back to you, Reza, in a
Palestinians
second, okay?
in Gaza.
Luis Moreno Ocampo, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Okay.
That was former ICC prosecutor Luis Moreno Ocampo. And you can read more of our coverage of Karim Khan and the ICC, including those explosive reports from our colleagues David Hurst and Imran Mullah, by heading to our website at middleeasti.net.
Thank you, anarchist. I'm hoping it doesn't, Reza. I really do. Don't get me wrong, it's still a liberal kind of court. The based individual, I believe, who has came out from the UN and from the international scene is Francesca Albanese. Praise be that woman. She is a fucking legend. I love her. She is literally saying truth to power. Hell yeah. Much baseness. Respect to Francesca Albanese. Thank you, anarchist. Much appreciated. Yeah. For a while I thought, oh, right, part of the UN, I just assumed she'd be getting paid for the job she took. No, she volunteered, literally, and she's not getting paid for it, and she's literally speaking the truth, calling out this genocide for what it is. Well done, Francesca. Much appreciation to you. She is, Reza. Praise be. Thank all the deities. Ooh. That one might be quite based. France, Germany, obviously Hungary already existed, Orban, anti-Semite and fucking fascist. Delightful. UK, not quite fascist yet with the current government, still fucking bastards, obviously, but not fascist. But Manfrog sitting in the wings. I ought to fucking own him. Nigel, feel free to come up here to Glasgow. I might meet you, and I will talk to you very vigorously. Yeah. Now that they've got that fucking power, Hungary's fucked. Much respect and deep love for all my Hungarian comrades if they hear this. For all you left-leaning MLs, Marxists, anarchists, syndicalists, sockdames of any nature in Hungary, I'm here for you. Orban, get right. But he won't, unfortunately, because he's rigged the entire fucking political system in Hungary, because he's that kind of fucker. Oh God. Please, Germany, don't vote in the AfD, I beg of you. Thankfully, France didn't get right, Marine. At least her dad's dead. Outright fascist, by the way. He didn't appear it to quite a lot of the French public unfortunately. He served in Algeria, by the way. That's how he staged his political platform. I defended France, blah, blah, blah. I defended all the French lands across the Loire. Fuck off. You're scum, Jean-Marie Le Pen. So long, good riddance, and I hope you're fucking burning. Yeah, that's my thinking as well, unfortunately, Reza. Seriously, she deserves to be slapped in the face politically by the French electorate. Hopefully they will. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a Macron apologist. I don't like him either. There are based French comrades, Lord Frutus and Marcel Paul. Kev kind of slates them, but those two comrades, praise be. There is based people in France, obviously. Yeah. I wonder how Marine Le Pen is actually doing. Mm. Oh, no. I am going down to my desk. No. No.
There's a system of needs which leads to the family. And verbatim, the market is part of society.
No piggybacking of President Sunday. He be based? I would never do that.
This is the end of the International Criminal Court.
No.
On Tuesday, we brought you the...
What the fuck is going wrong? Stop it! Bad laptop. Bad. It is paused now. Give me a second. Oh, I can support her on Ko-Fi. Oh, that's easy. Oh, whoops. That's yours. Screen capture. That's yours. That's yours. That one. Done. Haha. Fantastic. Ah! Damn it. Go there. Oh, go.
The American civil rights activist and philosopher Cornel West says justice is what...
Pause. That's source. Screen capture. That's source. That's source. That one. Carry on. Move you over here. Okay. GRM Daily. Your channel. Where are we? Videos. What the hell? Got it. Give me a second, comrades.
So what I wrote is that neoliberalism is actually what lovelessness looks like in public. And that now, after 4 decades of these policies, but the reason why I say the book came out on June 12th is that just 1 week later was the Grenfell Tower fire. And, you know, I feel like this catastrophe, right, this crime really, in so many ways, is the ultimate symbol of that lovelessness as policy, of that neglect, of that systematic neglect and systematic discrimination, but also of that hollowness that you're asking about, right? Because of this extraordinary cruelty of this investment in an image, like the investment in the aesthetic, and in such sharp contrast to the divestment of the inside.
You need images like that, right? That naughty, naughty.
Fire in the booth when I'm trying just to maintain. And since June, don't hear the word fire in the same way. Heard screams, splutters, and I'm gasping for air. That's not bars in a booth. It's so hard to compare. If I use fire as a metaphor, does that disrespect the people that are never more? How does that bomb sound to those that bled in war? That we never saw. Remember when they settled scores with metal swords at Skeletor? Chinese made gunpowder, Nobel invented dynamite. They say the guilt in his mind compelled him to design the prize. We know what Einstein's mind was like. How many geniuses we never knew that were deprived of life. I can't philosophize on horrifying flames. We don't have to apologize or qualify our pain. Degremphalize our loved ones of the colonizer's name. Should we let the corporate media lobotomize our brains? You are beautiful. No matter how this life disfigures you, you're beautiful. Even if that image you emulate isn't you. I don't know if history is linear or cyclical, but no, I'm ridiculed for making invisibles visible. That's why Plato said banish poets from the Republic, cause they know that we can shake the social system and disrupt it. The land of liberty, they tell us leave it or lump it. When Trump comes to the country, we hope he chokes on his crumpet before we sink in the ocean. Consider this as an omen. Nature's blessings are ours just cause we think that we own them. Never think that you're broken or think that you know one. Remember, a rope is strong because of strings interwoven. When love dies, when love dies, when love dies, so neoliberal. When love dies, when love dies, when love dies, so neoliberal. Would they love you more if you mock the people that you're from? Self-orientalize and believe that you belong. Overcompensate and propagate the image of the imbecile, not uninvolved even though you're further from the killing field. Solace in the fact there's always cracks in the monolith. Practically lobbing bricks like Asterix and Obelix. Distracted with gossip is twisted news and interludes. Adverse, no hidden clues to listen to is pitiful. Rosa Luxemburg gave us the simple truth. You won't feel your chains till the day you begin to move. He photographed the corpse and he flung him in the cage. Those are signed off on the cladding and still receiving their wage. Helicopters hover close, pictures of the front page. Tried to speak, all I really felt deep was numb rage. How could they see this pain at such a young age? Leaning out the window screaming for help, but none came. If it bleeds, it leads. The trauma tourists, they gravitate. Your doctrine in effect is ask the capitalists salivate. Privatization, deregulation and austerity. 0-hour contracts, exploitation and precarity. Adults didn't make it, children to be Save pennies on the block, drop 20 million on the opera. We see through your cold plans, your program is done. We don't want a prime minister that holds hands with Trump. We don't want DJs doing shows on military compounds. Can't trivialize fire or any more bomb sounds. I cannot smile when I know the remains are still not found. And echoing in my mind is exactly how the sobs sound. When love dies, when love dies, when love dies, so neoliberal. When love dies, when love dies, when love dies, so neoliberal. They say we're criminals for syllables and stanzas when they subsidize the killers, tools, the pillagers and bankers. Who are the engines of history? People like me and you who got massacred for the right to vote. Peterloo, it was Imagineers, the poets and the artists, the miners, Tom Puddle Martyrs, William Cuffey and the chartists. Rebel and resist, even through something small. Create windows with words and mirrors where once were wheels. Manure contributes to the beauty of a rose. Why can't we accept our pain as something that helps us grow? They wonder why songs that make you cry are more moving, cause crying's the only thing that we were born doing. They tell us tea is tradition to the English. When I look around this island, not a tea plantation in it. Earl Grey gave 20 million to the slave traders. Multipolar world, now the Indians are space raiders. Freedom to be even or merely alienate labor. Freedom for fossil fuels to desecrate and invade nature. Albert was an immigrant, Philip was an immigrant. Were the Celts, Normans and the Anglo-Saxons English then? The words sugar, cotton and rice come from Arabic. Now we import democracy to civilize the Saracens. Analyzing planets when this backwater was wilderness. Seems we're still obsessed with immortality like Gilgamesh. Pessimism of intellect, optimism of will. Wear the skin of their victims, a syndrome Buffalo Bill. In times of permanent war, there's always someone to kill. But when life and death are virtual, almost nothing is real. When love dies, when love dies, when love dies, so neoliberal. When love dies, when love dies, when love dies, so neoliberal. Neoliberalism kills people, it kills people. Neoliberalism kills people, real people. Neoliberalism kills people, kills people. Neoliberalism kills people, it kills people. Neoliberalism kills people, real people. Neoliberalism kills people, it kills people. Neoliberalism kills people, it kills people. Neoliberalism kills people, real people. Neoliberalism kills people, it kills people.
Ooh. Let us check it out. I'm not entirely sure if I'll get copyright clapped for this, but fuck it anyway. Over here.
Roll like a silver moon. Detroit neighborhood left to room. Kill at the wheel, showing me the side of this crumbling empire. Following suit much they shiver. It's one for me and one for the dead and one for my crumbling empire. I'm not preaching, I'm just talking. I don't wear the shoes I used to walk in, but I can't help thinking where they take me in this crumbling empire. My old man worked on the real yard, getting us straight on the electrical board. It got privatized, the work degraded in this crumbling empire. My mother delivered most of the kids in this town. My stepdad drove in a tank for the crown. They left the homeless down and out in their crumbling empire. I'm not preaching, I'm just talking. I don't wear the shoes I used to walk in, but I can't help thinking where I'd be in this crumbling empire. 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 Earl was a kid when they threw him out, living on the streets down Camden Town. Under the arches, strung right out in a crumbling empire. 25 years on crack and gold, back in the pink for synthetic coal. Just another kid failed by these blows in their crumbling empire. I'm not preaching, I'm just talking. I don't wear the shoes I used to walk in, but I can't help thinking where they take me in this crumbling empire. This crumbling empire. This crumbling empire. This crumbling empire. In our crumbling empire.
Well done. Thank you for making me aware of this artist, Reza. Much appreciated. Unfortunately, yes. Oh, you. Ooh. Let's. Been meaning to do this anyway. Go back, go back, go back, go back, back again, back again, back again. Where is my? Oh, Katie Montgomery based comrade. Also Katie, so obviously based, not Hopkins. She is not a based Katie. She is a Katie that deserves to be silenced. The icon herself, praise be Katie Montgomery. She be based. My God, President Sunday's still going. He must be reaching about 5 hours by now. We haven't seen much of her, have we? At least that's a good thing. As far as I'm aware, she still exists. So probably causing all sorts of chaos wherever she is. I really do despise that woman. I don't like the fact that she's got her name spelled the same way as me. But I am Katie, the proper Katie, the based Katie. Just like this Katie, who's also based. Katie. Katie. I have found her. I am subscribed, oddly enough. Oh, full clarity, Katie Montgomery is trans femme. She is based. She is woman. Praise be. Hopefully most women are based. Some aren't, unfortunately, but they all should be. So, from one Katie to another, much respect. Because she deserves it, and she does.
So someone a while ago told me that Richard Dawkins had responded to me. And I was like, oh, okay, right, cool. Another big name person responding to me. J.K. Rowling's gone for me a few times. Sometimes can be stressful. But then they were like, oh, he seems to just be babbling. I was like, oh yeah, okay, sounds like Richard Dawkins. But then I couldn't find it. And someone very kindly sent it to me. So here we go. I haven't watched this whole thing. We've just seen a bit of it. Let's see what Richard Dawkins has to say. Hopefully the volume on this will be good. So this is responding to an old clip of mine from, I think, the Transatlantic call-in show. $5 from Bixie. Why the rise in transphobia? Is it a visceral fear of messing with sexuality, emasculating men? Me thinks the lady doth protest too much. To some extent, there's this term of like gender distress, and people with more conservative views of gender are more likely to suffer from gender distress, where they feel like they're not meeting some ridiculous ideal of how a man or a woman should be in their mind, and that causes them distress. And seeing other people not meet that rule or break that rule and stuff also distresses them, and then they kind of project that out onto other people. And it causes men in particular to be more sexist, and probably women too, but I'm sure it's related to transphobia.
Not quite.
So,
correct, Katie, yes.
I don't like that lipstick choice for me, gotta say. Anyway, here I am making an argument about like why conservatives seem to be stressed by trans people more, and why people who want a stronger binary gender roles in society seem to be more transphobic. And I think it should be kind of obvious, but it's obviously not obvious to a lot of people. There are some people who really strongly believe that there should be two genders and it should be a hierarchy, and when they see people not fitting into those things, they get distressed. I just explained it. I don't know if I did the best job of explaining it, but hopefully that was clear. Let's see what Richard Dawkins has to say in response to that discussion about conservatives' view of gender roles.
Sure what that person was saying.
That person?
The fact is that looking at the whole of the animal and plant kingdoms, the male-female divide is quite clear. Females produce large gametes, eggs. Males produce small gametes, sperms. There are no...
Right, okay, so we're not talking about gender roles at all. We're now talking about biology in the plant and animal kingdoms. This isn't even the same topic as what I was talking about To be clear, I was talking about, like, even if you ignore trans people, there are some people who are stressed about feminine men and masculine women. Like, this is where homophobia comes from as well, or at least part of homophobia. And it's where part of transphobia comes from. And where kind of even ignoring LGBT people altogether, it's where the, like, policing of women comes from. And also the policing of men. And this kind of, like, you have to be a manly man or a super feminine woman. This is all the same thing. I wasn't talking about sex or...
There should be. There should be self-affirming care. There really should be in this country. Free at the point of use. That's the whole point of the NHS, in my opinion at least. So yes, offer it on the NHS. Don't make people go private. We should be offering it in the NHS. We really should. I get gender affirming care because I can't produce the hormones. So I'm on HRT. I need them for skeletal wise, essentially, because the sex hormones help build up our bones. Female people who are, well, I've only got one X chromosome, but I need those hormones to actually make my skeletal build actually stronger. Yay, good for me. I need it. So I get it. Free at the point of use, which is good. Anyone who needs the hormones should be getting them on the NHS. I can't remember how much. No prescription charge up here, by the way. Scotland be based, as always. But down in England and Wales and Northern Ireland, you pay. No, hang on. They've got free prescriptions as well in Wales. In England, you have to pay for it. Last time I checked, it's like £9.75 per item on the prescription. So whatever you have on your prescription, it's £9.75 per each item. No matter how many items are on there, different drugs, treatments, blah, 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 blah. So £9.75 each time. It is, Reza. It is indeed. That's why lots of disabled and trans people are moving up to Scotland for the free prescriptions, essentially, so they don't need to worry about paying £9.75. And having to go private to get your gender affirming care? Dog shite. End that noise right now. Thank you. West Streeting, you are a bastard. Fuck you. I would if I could. I would talk to him. Politely, of course. In my eloquent Scottish accent. My sister has actually talked to him. She was president of NUS Scotland. Well, he was the overall president of the NUS in its entirety. Student politics indeed. Look who you put on your front bench, Keir, you absolute waste of humanity. He literally is the definition of student politician. Leanne will fucking get him. 521 votes. God damn it, so close. She'll be getting your ways, be sure of that. Ilford North, I praise you right now. When the next general election comes up, please vote out that absolute fucking bastard. It would be so fucking awesome and based. Because Leanne Mohammed is a legend. She deserves to be in the House of Commons. Mind you, in saying that, I miss her desperately. Mary Black. She literally called it out. It is dire in there. She stood and called out the front benches because, for reason, obviously for herself and for everyone in the everyone in the LGBTQI plus community, people like me. Oh, hello, by the way, bisexual. I may be married to a cishet white man. Doesn't take away my bisexual identity. Plus, he takes good care of me. Mary, I do miss you desperately. But she saw how toxic it was for her, and for everyone there, apparently. Thank you for telling us. I kind of suspected it anyway. Plus, she called out that the other place shouldn't fucking exist, not in a modern democracy, whatever that word is. Democracy? Does anyone know what that is? I'm sure it exists somewhere on the globe. But it doesn't exist here.
Gametes or gonads or anything at all. I certainly wasn't talking about the plant kingdom. When he first started there, saying across the animal kingdom, I was like, oh, okay, maybe he's going to talk about gender roles in baboons, because I know there has been studies in showing how there is actually homophobia in baboons, and they do performative gender roles to some degree. Also in bonobos, which are a closer relative of ours, they don't. So, in some animals, there seems to be some kind of gender performance beyond just differences in behavior based on sexual dimorphism in behavior. Anyway, let's keep going. We'll see what he has to say anyway.
Intermediates, literally no intermediates. Every creature, every vertebrate, let's say, is every mammal, every vertebrate.
Pick one, man. Every mammal is a vertebrate, yes. Not every vertebrate is a mammal, you know, like some fish. Transphobes always want to generalize, and then they realize they've generalized too much, and then they pull it back, and then they're not sure, and then they let's see. I think he settles with vertebrate. Let's just go back a little bit.
Is quite clear. Females produce large gametes, eggs. Males produce small gametes, sperms. There are no intermediates, literally no intermediates. Every creature, every vertebrate, let's say, is every mammal, every vertebrate, and actually every animal is either a producer of big gametes or small. There are some hermaphrodites that produce, have both kinds of gametes and produce both, but I think.
So there are absolutely no intermediates, but also there are some who do both. Also, there are some who do neither, and there are some species that he just went with all animals, I think was the group he's describing in the end. There are plenty of animals that reproduce only asexually, so there's some that can reproduce sexually and asexually, like aphids, which are super cool. But yeah, there are some that, like when we're talking about the sex of an individual, there are some that produce sperm, and there are some that produce ova, for sure. And then there are some that produce both, and then there's some that produce neither at any stage in their life cycle.
Kind of difficult at times.
Like normally, for example, in ants, there
just
are
for clarity,
some types, some morphs of ant which produce sperm, and some which produce ova, and the majority of them never produce any gametes at all. But we still say they are female, despite them never producing any gametes.
Excuse me?
And there are some also that produce one type of gametes at one point in time, and then another type of gametes at another point in time. And there's never a time when they're producing both at the same time. However, there is this dead zone in the middle where they are producing neither. And at one point somewhere along here, in real life, in actual non-science denial,
Correct.
transphobe
Yes.
land, sex
Delightful,
isn't
as
just
always.
gametes, and
This government is fucking
there's a whole
dog shit.
collection of properties here, including gametes and chromosomes and gonads and genitals and all this kind of stuff. And during the sequential hermaphrodite sex change, all of those will change slowly over time, and you can't really say exactly where they've changed sex, but the sex change process takes part over some amount of time, because sex isn't binary and they go from one state to another through a whole series of, like, an infinite amount of indeterminate middle states. But according to the gender critical worldview, there's only male and female, and it's a strict binary, and they go from not producing any. They go from producing one type of gamete to produce.
You know what? I've been going for the best part of 3 hours now. So let me read out. I need to go and get a nap anyway. I will. Yeah, I definitely need it.
Hey there, everybody.
I'm sure Peacefire is still going. So let's go and do some clout chasing, because Peacefire now be based. Rejoice, comrades! The mod, the legendary Shanna Cranky Pants. Hi Shanna. I'm just about to read out. I'm going to go over and annoy Peacefire, because he be based. Capricorn, Kaya, that, Rhizome, recognise that one. Cinemarxism, Reiki, David, Mary McCheese, Kai, Taylor. What? Hang on. Peacefire now should be there. Whoops. Peacefire now. Oh, he's not live. He must have finished. Okay, someone else. Taylor? Kai? Merrick Cheese? Anything? Baby Some Games? Reiki? Some Rhizome? Dark Native? Based Australian? Kaya? It's gotta do it. Let's see, who else? Was there one? Just Gamer Memes. John. Ooh, Australia Raid's going. Let us go and say hi to a base Canadian, shall we? Thank you, Reza. I will raid you all over to the Merrick Cheese, because he be based.
The INC, I got 2 or 3 bros for every V, and I keep them drugged up off that ecstasy. I'm a playground legend like Kirkland Pee-wee. A baller in the league, got more game than me. I play hard, there's so many women I fathered. Beat them with scars and send them home hot and bothered. The truth to dare, this life ain't apparently fair. And the love
Family David? Or Rhizome? Or Zach? Ooh, Warport is going. So Cinemaxism. Pixie! Scooter That Kitty. Highly Radical. Dark Native. Ooh, Glow's going. So is Capricant. So is Root Circuit. Taylor. Kaya. Ricky. Yala Yasmin. Baby Chef Games. Yay! Let us go and raid Yala Yasmin. Yala.
Even if it's only $5. And don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. 28-year-old Osama lives in the south of Gaza with his large family. Family works hard to share their campaign, but they don't get nearly enough support. Osama and his cousin Mohammed were kidnapped by the IOF. They tied Mohammed's hands and feet together and burned him alive. They forced Osama to watch as they left. After he was charred, Osama was forced to carry him back to their family. There's no depravity like the depravity of the IOF. Osama has lost so many people, including his cousin Moaz.